Welcome to another edition of From the Vault, presented by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Today, we go Can-Am racing. The Can-Am rules were deliberately simple and placed few limits on the entries. This led to a wide variety of unique car body designs and powerful engine installations. First up, we head to the 1981 race from the 10 turns at Mosport. The entry featured Teo Fabi, Al Unser, Danny Sullivan, and Jack Brabham.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Paul Chater, and we're only a few minutes away now from the start of the Molson Can-Am. We've got a number of surprises on the grid for this afternoon's race. First of all, Al Unser, a former Indianapolis 500 winner, is sitting back in the number 3 position. His teammate, 26-year-old Teo Fabi, astounded the crowd here with a record-shattering time. If Fabi's car manages to last, he may just run away with this race. But if it doesn't, there's going to be a good dice behind him. 3 or 4 cars very close together. It should be exciting.
The first Can-Am of the season. A lot of unknowns here at Mosport this afternoon.
From New Zealand, Graham McRae, driving a radical new car of his own design, entered by Burt Reynolds.
Starting 6th is Jeff Wood, driving the same Lola that won here at Mosport last year.
Beside him will be Al Holbert in another brand new ground effects car.
Danny Sullivan, the 4th fastest qualifier.
Al Unser, 3-time winner of the Indy 500. He's 3rd on the grid, driving a march for Paul Newman.
And starting on the front row in 2nd spot, the VDS Lola of Australian Jeff Brabham.
And here's the big surprise, starting on the pole position, 26-year-old Italian Formula 2 star Teo Fabi. He qualified at a record-breaking 1 minute 10.7 seconds. No one has ever lapped this 2.5-mile circuit faster. Fabi is the number 2 driver on the Newman team. Pre-race activity this year is even more frantic than usual. Because it's the season opener with new cars and new drivers meeting each other for the first time, there's lots of rebuilding, repairing, and sometimes hasty redesigning to do. Some teams are blessed with keen and knowledgeable owners like Paul Newman, an accomplished driver and enthusiast. But why Can-Am racing?
Why Can-Am? Well, I don't know. I'm not a roundy-round racer. I like road racing. I like upsies and downsies and leftsies and rights, and I think the cars are the most exotic cars in the circuit. And I think it can be the premium road racing in North America.
Have you ever considered driving the Newman racers yourself?
In the privacy of the bathroom, yes, but never when I go outside.
You're quite an accomplished racer. IMSA GT racing, we know, but how about Can-Am?
I'm very realistic, and I'm too old to really be competitive in the cars. If I'd started when I was 18, maybe it would have been a different story.
Others like the Carl Haas team, winners here for the last 3 years, are starting the race with last year's car rather than risk an untried model, as I discovered when I spoke to their driver, Jeff Wood.
What technically is different between last year's car and the new one?
Well, I haven't seen all the new modifications yet, but the new car will be aerodynamically different on the top and the bottom, some revised suspension stuff, and we've got a little bit different, a little everything is a little bit different this year. So we're really looking for an improved car.
What's making the Can-Am cars so much faster this year than they were last year?
The aerodynamics mainly. The engines really haven't improved that much. It's the aerodynamics making the car to be able to stick on the ground much better, the ground effects you might say.
Teams like Newman's, with 2 drivers, have particular difficulties. It's the same car, the same track, but with different drivers, tires and suspension and wing settings may all very well differ. Smaller teams too, however, like Graham McRae's Burt Reynolds-sponsored Bandit, have their own difficulties.
This is the first real test for your car. How's it handling so far?
Well, I can't get up enough speed to really find out what's happening because I'm coming across something that the Formula One fellows in Europe found perhaps 2 years ago. It's called porpoising. And I didn't think it was very worrisome until I just drove the car. And when you get up to about 100 miles an hour or maybe 130, the car will suck itself down onto the ground with enormous force until it starts to block the air off going underneath, and then all of a sudden it releases itself and the springs pop the car off the road, and then it sucks itself down, and it continues to do this more and more violently as you increase speed. And we're going to have to go along and put some real heavy springs in there like the other drivers have got, and hopefully it will cure it. But the car is totally undrivable at any speed under these conditions.
Build it, try it, rebuild it, then try it again. That's the life of the racing mechanic. Amid the controlled panic of setting up the car, the team's efforts are concentrated on qualifying. On a track like Mosport, positions at the front of the grid are all important. The last 4 Can-Ams were all won by the pole sitter, who this year will be rising Italian star Teo Fabi.
Is it very important for you to have the pole position for this race tomorrow?
Beh, certo, credo sia nella pole position, nelle prove si vede effettivamente.
Yes, it is important to have the pole position because during the qualifying you can tell which car and driver are the fastest. But during the race, it's a different story. Anything can happen.
Does it help to have your teammate Al Unser up at the front of the grid with you?
Beh, indubbiamente.
Al Unser is a very experienced driver, and I can always learn a lot from him. It's good to have a teammate like that.
If he's lucky, the driver can concentrate on fast times. But it's not always like that, as Al Holbert, who runs his own team, discovered.
Al, you've had kind of a disappointing weekend so far. What happened to the car just now?
Yeah, the wing's gone.
Did it fall off while you were driving?
Yeah, it flew off in the middle of turn 2.
What happened when the car shoot off the road?
No, by the grace of God, we just spun around right in the middle of the road and just like a top and spun right down the middle of the road.
Where are you going to be on the grid now for the race?
I haven't got the slightest idea.
There must be a definite disadvantage when you're designing and building your own race car and you're competing against Marches and Lolas that are turned out of factories. Isn't that a little more difficult?
Maybe it is more difficult. I don't think so. I think we all end up putting the same amount of effort into it, and this is part of it that I enjoy. So.
And along with that effort, I guess now since the crash, you've got a lot more work to do for tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. It's not as bad as it looks, but the problem is we haven't had any time to really sort the car and be competitive.
But you're still smiling. I don't know how you do it.
Well, I've got a friend.
Good luck getting it back together, Al.
Thanks very much.
Carl Haas's phenomenal success in Can-Am stems from his own management and a dedication and professionalism that only this year is challenged by the million-dollar efforts of Newman, Garvin Brown, and Belgian brewer Count van der Straten. Can-Am isn't for the faint-hearted or for those lacking wealth or confidence. Who'll be your main opposition, Paul?
Nobody.
From the Vault is brought to you by M-Zone, premium auto care proudly owned and made by Canadians. By Recap Recovery Drink. By WeatherTech, for the perfect fit and ultimate in vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. And by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit our website for hall merchandise.
And as the drivers head out for the pace lap, let's take a quick tour of this Mosport course with a camera mounted on Teo Fabi's march and the commentary from Jeff Bradley.
We just get 4th gear before we go into turn 1, and you can really get your teeth into the corner. But it's a 4th gear corner, very fast, and then you get into this small straight up till turn 2. You go over this blind corner, and the road just drops away from you, and you've really got to make sure you set the car up in the right place on the road and get a good line through here, because you can gain or lose a lot of time here. Turn 3 is very tricky because it's tight going in and it opens up coming out, so you always feel that you can go into the corner a lot faster than you can really. Change into 3rd gear through this corner, and then we're up to 4th and into 5th gear, coming up to Moss's corner, which is the tightest, down from 5th to 2nd. And really in our Can-Am cars, you've just got to get around here the best way you can, because the cars are very powerful and you're going very slow. So as soon as you hit the throttle, the rear wheels light up, but it's also important because you've got to get a good shot onto the main straight. Nice crisp gear changes, get up to 5th gear, which is top gear, and just go down the straight like fast as you can. The corner at the end of the straight is very difficult. It's very fast. You have to change into 4th gear. Very slippery corner this weekend. And then it's down into 3rd gear into the left and the right hander leading onto the pit straight. So I think every corner on this track is hard. It really gives you no time to relax. It's going to be a real tough race.
The pace lap continues, and the order looks good. Earlier today, Paul talked to Al Unser about that first corner.
With the short distance of this race, and you're in the 3rd grid position right behind your teammate, how critical is that first corner going to be this afternoon?
It's going to be very critical. It's a very narrow racetrack, and the cars are very wide now because of being Can-Am cars. So it's going to be a very, very tight situation down there.
And we have a green flag. The 1981 Can-Am season is underway here at Mosport.
Brian, look at this. Al Unser has made an absolutely brilliant start. He's into second place already. He passed Jeff Brabham going down into corner one. There's a good pack of cars behind him fighting it out for third. Holbert, Sullivan, and Jeff Wood are really close together.
And running down the top 5 in this opening lap, it is Teo Fabi in the Paul Newman March. His teammate, American Al Unser, running second. The Australian is third. That is Jeff Brabham. In number 4 position is Al Holbert. And running 5th in the Lola 530 is Danny Sullivan.
Fabi into corner 5, the slowest part on the course. He's about ready to charge up the back straight, and he's already pulling away from the rest of the pack. Al Unser there. Car number 5 is in second place. He seems to be pretty well by himself as well. Jeff Brabham into third spot. Now the fight for 4th place behind Jeff Brabham. That's Danny Sullivan in car number 4. Lola, he's through without any problems. Jeff Wood is right behind him as Teo Fabi comes into corner 8, a very fast right-hander, hard on the brakes into corner 9. Down the front straightaway, Fabi just put right in it, pulling away from his teammate Al Unser. Jeff Brabham falling behind in third spot.
And Paul Teo Fabi making his debut here at Mosport today in Can-Am racing, but I tell you, he is no stranger to speed.
Not at all, Brian. He's an ex-motorcycle racer. He drove for the factory Suzuki team, and he's a former World Cup downhill ski racer.
And of course, he had a spectacular week here in the trials for this Can-Am race.
Unbelievable. His track record, no one has ever gone around the track any faster. He's absolutely set the crowd on their feet.
I don't think even Fabi expected to do as well as he has done so far here at Mosport, and of course he'll try and cap it off today by winning this Can-Am.
He's an accomplished Formula 2 racer in Europe. He won the championship, and right now he's running away with this race at Mosport as his teammate Al Unser in car number 5 goes through corner 5 with Jeff Brabham not losing any ground to him at this point. There's Al Holbert in car number 14, the CRC2. He's fighting it out right now with Danny Sullivan in car number 4. Into corner 8, Teo Fabi. He's very close to the curves, but you notice he's not bouncing off them. He's saving his tires. Some of the slower traffic in the back, that's car number 77, driven by Canadian John Graham, and Fabi's trying to put a lap down in him already.
And Fabi has passed him, so Fabi has now lapped number 77, the 2-liter car of Canadian John Graham, as he continues to dominate this Mosport Can-Am in the early going.
Brian, watch Teo Fabi down the hill through turn 2, right on the edge of adhesion. Sterling Moss, one of the true greats in the sport, calls this the toughest turn in North America.
What makes this corner so difficult? Well, it's difficult to explain, but when you come into it, you'll see what I mean. You can see the blind brown. Now, at the moment, you can see it fairly easily because you've got the banks. But when you're coming this direction, there's nothing. You're setting up into a skyline with no feature at all. That's difficult. You have to decide where you want your apex to be, and whichever place it is, it's likely you're wrong. If it's wrong, you're in trouble. The important thing here is to try to get the car in the right place, and when you land, don't sort of turn, because if you do, it's light, and you've got to get the back end, and you're going to spin down here. So this is the type of corner that takes enough nerve that separates a champion from just a guy in the back of the field? Well, I like to think it's not nerve. I like to think it's experience that helps you, because nerve, you don't want too much nerve, but equally, this is probably the most difficult corner in North America, actually. Very difficult one.
And this is Graham McRae getting out of the Burt Reynolds Bandit, so bad news for the Reynolds team. The race is over for them after only 6 laps. It looks like they could not sort out those suspension problems that McRae spoke about earlier.
And while Graham McRae heads back to the garage, we get back to Teo Fabi, car number 6 in the lead. His teammate Al Unser is in second place. We see him at the back of this group of cars about to lap Canadian Horse Kroll number 37. Jeff Brabham in car number 3 is still sitting in third spot.
And as we watch Danny Sullivan chase Al Holbert around Moss Corner fighting for 4th place, here's the order. Welcome back to Mosport, Ontario, the 1981 Molson Can-Am. The Italian Teo Fabi continues to dominate this race in his Paul Newman March 817. And really, that is no surprise, because the Italian Fabi has shattered virtually every track record here at Mosport in practice. Al Unser, the veteran American, his teammate, is holding off Australian Jeff Brabham for second, but Brabham is pressing.
Jeff Brabham making up incredible ground. He's on the inside of Unser here. Al's coming into the pits, quite unexpected this early in the race to see him pulling in. He's going very slowly. This may not be a routine stop.
And that allows Brabham to shoot past into second. Brabham in second as we watch him through quarter number 1 with Unser now in the pits. And we now really have a battle for third place. It is Holbert holding off Danny Sullivan as they come into Moss Corner. A great fight now for third, Holbert and Sullivan. And right now, let's join Paul with Al Unser, who is through for the day.
Al, it's unfortunate the race for you didn't last too long.
No, it didn't. We had brake problems. Broke a brake line, I guess.
Well, tough luck for veteran American Al Unser. There is his teammate, Teo Fabi, and the other Paul Newman March. So with Unser out of the race now, he says probably a broken brake line. The question is, will Fabi and the other Newman car be able to continue this breakneck pace? And there we have Danny Sullivan has slipped by Al Holbert. So let's now meet our new third-place driver, Danny Sullivan.
Danny, you honed your racing skills in Europe in Formula 2 and 3 cars. How different is it for you to be competing in front of a hometown crowd in one of these big beasts?
Well, car-wise, it's quite a bit different because, as you say, they are big beasts and 600-odd horsepower, and you really got to muscle them around. I think at the front, the competition is as intense as it was in Europe, but their depth of field over there is much greater. You would have the first, say, 22 cars covered by 1 second on the grid.
Do the Formula 1 team managers watch Can-Am, do you think?
I think so. They read about it. Obviously, they can't watch it as closely as they can if we were in Europe. But the thing that's good about the Can-Am is the cars are big and they have a similar power-to-weight ratio as a Formula 1 car. So if you can handle one of these, Formula 1's easy as well.
I gather that's your ambition, one day to hit Formula 1.
Yeah, I think it is, and I think it's just about anybody that goes into road racing and wants to do it seriously.
How far off is that for Danny Sullivan?
I don't know. It could be one of those things, you know, you have a good year and somebody decides they like you and away you go. But if there was a known formula or known way to get into Formula 1, we'd all be doing it.
Well, he is certainly doing it here this afternoon at Moseport in this 1981 Can-Am. Danny Sullivan, the young man from Kentucky, as we see him now, a very strong third in his Lola 530, having passed Al Holbert in the CRC2.
Right, here comes Al into the pits right now in car number 14. He's got a serious problem. He's going very slowly. It appears that his right rear tire has blown on the rim. It's still attached, but it's gone completely. It's disintegrating. They're going to put in 9 gallons of fuel now, give him an opportunity at least to take care of one of the mandatory stops. Look at that tire. It's smoking. The mechanic can barely touch it. It's so hot. They've got it off. They're losing valuable time now in the pits. Waving at one of his crew members. It could be that Holbert's got a problem over and above that right rear tire. The crew taking their time to put it on. Meanwhile, Danny Sullivan is just charging away from him out on the track.
Remember, we already have Al Unser out of this race. Great concern now, but it looks like Holbert will be able to get back in the race. However, he has lost valuable time to Danny Sullivan. With Unser out, here is his teammate, Italian Teo Fabi, in the Paul Newman March. He continues to lead. He is leading Australian Jeff Brabham now by 26 seconds.
His first time in a Can-Am race, the first time on this track, and he's virtually running away with it. There's Jeff Brabham now back in second place in car number 3, heading into corner number 3. He's a long way behind Fabi.
Fabi continues to lead, but we saw Holbert going into the pits just a few minutes ago. Now, it was not a scheduled stop. He had trouble with the tires, but I think Fabi is due for a pit stop, Paul.
Fabi is due, and so is this man, Jeff Brabham, in car number 3, currently in second place. They both have to make stops. These cars don't hold enough fuel for the entire race, so they have to make 2 stops to take on 9 gallons at a time. Here's Fabi now. He's in the pits. Car number 6, the leader, is in the pit lane. 2 cans go on the car, 1 to put in the fuel, 1 to take any overload. And that's a fast stop. It's only 8 seconds, and he's screaming out of the pit lane. Look at the 2 black streaks of rubber he's left there.
Our leader, Teo Fabi, back on the course, and now here's the second place car, number 3. That's Australian Jeff Brabham. Let's see if he can beat the 8 seconds that was taken, or that were taken by Fabi.
And that's only 7.6 seconds, Brian. 0.4 of a second faster. Look at all the rubber smoke he's left behind. Here comes Jeff Wood in the pits now. He's in 5th spot in car number 1. He's going to take on 9 gallons of gasoline as well. And that's a fast stop. And look at that. Tires spinning all the way.
Danny Sullivan in now. Danny Sullivan from Kentucky running third at this point as he makes his pit stop. And how about that? 3.8 seconds, and Sullivan screams back on the course. The leader, though, through corner 8 is still Teo Fabi in the Paul Newman March.
And he's still pushing as hard as he was at the start of the race, Brian. He's got his foot right down to the floor, down the front straightaway in car number 6. The Paul Newman March is running away with this race.
Jeff Brabham is now beginning to close the gap slightly. The number 3 car of Australian Brabham, he is closing on the leader, Fabi. And there is Canadian Horse Pro following Brabham. Brabham's career has taken off in the past year, and Paul Tuck with him.
Jeff, a 5th place in the Indianapolis 500 this year. It must have been a great thrill. Is it the highlight of your career so far?
Well, definitely one of them, for sure. Going to Indianapolis for any driver has to be one of the biggest thrills that he can do, and I was very pleased that we managed to finish 5th, and it was a good run for me.
Jeff, your dad won the Grand Prix here in 1967. Does that give you any special thoughts when you pull out onto the track?
Well, I haven't got time to think of anything like that, but, I'm proud of what my father has done, and it'd be nice to add another Brabham to the winners' records here, that's for sure.
And right now, Australian Jeff Brabham is running second to Fabi.
Brian, here's Al Holbert in the pits for his second stop of the day. He's had an unfortunate weekend so far. 2 crashes during practice and a blown tire in the race. The crew putting in 9 gallons of gasoline, and he'll rejoin the race in a poor 5th place position.
Danny Sullivan right now as we see Holbert come back into the race. Danny Sullivan running smoothly in 3rd spot around Moss Corner. One of the most famous corners in motor racing, and Paul Tuck to his designer.
Sterling, this corner up here under the bridge is one of the fastest portions of the track, and it leads into one of the slowest areas, a corner, oddly enough, named Moss Corner.
Yeah, well, that's not my fault, but let me tell you how that happened. The point was, when I arrived here, and as you say, it's a very interesting corner, because this again is another blind one, but when I arrived, I said to them, look, don't make a hairpin. It's a very uninteresting corner. Let's try and make it into 2 corners, which now you've got. You see, you've got one corner here, and you've got to let the car go over to the left. So that then you've got a short straight, although it's taken as one corner in a gradual curve, and then you've got another right angle, which is a bit tighter. And then you start the straight, of course.
How much problem does it present coming up here when it's blind, when you're under braking and you have to turn into a slow corner?
Well, the one thing about it, it's slow. And when you get a slow corner like this, you get people being brave, and therefore they're doing an awful lot of action. You're going to see more action here normally than anywhere else, because people will oversteer. They'll put the brakes on a bit late maybe, and it goes wide. But it should be taken in one gentle curvature with a lot of horsepower. You put a lot of power in, and of course the car does go out wide, and there's sort of lip on the edge and everything. And it's a pretty interesting corner, actually.
As this 1981 Molson Can-Am draws to a close, we see Jeff Wood running alone in 4th place, and here are the standings.
The crews are preparing for another rash of pit stops. The marshals have their fire extinguishers at the ready, and the crews suited up to do some more refueling. And here comes Teo Fabi. He's in the pits for his final stop of the day. Screaming to a halt in front of his pit, the crew sloshing in 9 more gallons of gasoline, and that will do him for the duration. And he's underway. He stalled the car. Fabi, the leader, has stalled the car. He's stopped at the end of the pit lane. The crew has to push it to get it started. He's finally got it going, and he's screaming back out onto the track.
And Teo Fabi is still the leader, running in 3rd place. Here he is, the number 4 car, Danny Sullivan from Kentucky.
He had a remarkably fast stop earlier in the race. This one doesn't seem to be quite as quick. He's having some problems getting the car into the way. The crew pushing on the wing, and Sullivan is back in the race.
Sullivan running in the number 3 position. Fabi the leader. Here is the 2nd place car. That is number 3, Australian Jeff Brabham.
Jeff Brabham, he's going to have to make a very fast stop if he wants to make up some ground on Fabi. 5.9 seconds, a little bit too long in the pits.
And here is Jeff Wood into the pits. He'll be refueled by the Haas team, and Paul, they are the best in the business. They've been known to do it in under 4 seconds, and right now they do it in 3.75 seconds. Great job by that Haas team refueling Jeff Wood.
Jeff, for years you ran your own Formula Atlantic team, and now all of a sudden you find yourself in Can-Am as a hired gun. It must be quite a difference.
Well, it is quite a bit of difference. The difference in horsepower is almost 3 times the power as a Formula Atlantic car. It's quite a bit bigger car. It's got fenders, so it's a big change.
Do you find it difficult to adapt, having driven at Mosport in an Atlantic car and now having to do it in something so much bigger?
No, this is basically, yesterday was my first day in a Can-Am car, and so I'm just kind of coming to grips with the car here and also the track, so we should be okay after this afternoon, I think.
And this is it, the last lap in the 1981 Can-Am. The leader, Teo Fabi in the Paul Newman March. Second is Jeff Brabham from Australia.
Fabi's lead has narrowed to 23 seconds. It could be, Brian, that he's just slowed the pace a little to save the car to the end.
One of two cars that started the race for the Paul Newman Racing Team. Al Unser, the veteran American, a veteran of so many Indy 500s, out of the race earlier. But Teo Fabi, there was some concern whether his car would be able to continue mechanically, but so far he has had no problem.
Well, it should make the owner, Paul Newman, very happy. They haven't won a Can-Am since 1979 when they won the Grand Prix Molson in Trois-Rivières.
All afternoon, his lap times have been consistent, plus or minus no more than a fifth of a second. That is a mark of a real champion. The number 6 car, Italian Teo Fabi, as he prepares to take the checkered flag in this 1981 Can-Am opener.
There's a checkered flag for Fabi, the first race ever at Mosport, his very first Can-Am, and he comes away a victor.
And second place will go to car number 3. That is Australian Jeff Brabham as he rounds corner 8 for the last time. Second again this year. Now, he gambled by not bringing his new car to Mosport. He figured that the well-tested and developed car from last year would be able to capitalize on the other team's teething problems. He gets the flag for second, but he did not count on Teo Fabi and the new March being so fast. In third is Danny Sullivan from Kentucky, the number 4 car from Louisville. Driving for Garvin Brown as we see him come now round corner 8. He finished third after a good smooth drive and excellent pit work, 19 seconds behind Brabham. Teo Fabi enters victory lane to receive his trophy and a check for $22,000. 3 Canadians in the top 10. Horst Kroll from Scarborough, young Mike Freeberg from Toronto, and Roman Peshman from Concord, Ontario.
Teo Fabi displayed the classic qualities of a true champion. On this day, for 60 laps, that magic synthesis between driver and race car was absolutely perfect. Unbeatable right from the start. It was a tour de force, and even his competitors had to applaud. The Mosport Can-Am went very much as predicted. The winner, Teo Fabi, in second place, Jeff Brabham, and third, Danny Sullivan. From the Molson Can-Am at Mosport, I'm Paul Chater. Now back to our studios in Toronto.
Amazing to see the old Mosport play host to the big Can-Am cars. Next up, we'll head to the streets of Trois-Rivières. It was 1984, which showcased the Can-Am cars and the Trans Am series. The track in 1984 looks a lot different than the modern-day circuit.
It's a favorite venue for racing drivers. The city of Trois-Rivières, Quebec, hosting the annual Labatt's Grand Prix for Can-Am and Trans Am championships. The cars on the grid, watched by a near-capacity crowd of race fans.
Démarrez vos moteurs. Gentlemen, start your engines.
The 5-liter and 2-liter cars compete in the CRC Chemicals Can-Am Series, won last year by Quebec Jacques Villeneuve. Leading the '84 championship struggle, Mike Rowe. The Irishman has been supreme, losing races only following mishaps or mechanical failures, but just a few points behind this man, Jim Crawford, last year's runner-up. Third on the grid, the fastest 2-liter, that of Swiss driver Marzio Romano. And Horst Kroll, the ever-present Canadian, is fourth on the grid and lies third in the championship standings. At the end of the warm-up lap, the cars are bunched as they come out of the Villeneuve corner. Suspended over the track, the starter watches. The green flag is dropped and the race is on. At the stadium corner, Rowe leads Crawford with Kim Campbell's 2-liter edging in front of Kroll to take third spot. The rest stream up to the clubhouse corner, a favorite passing place for many. Into the S's now. Watch Rowe's car twitch as he powers his way into the short lead. 500 horsepower in such small cars make them real handfuls around Trois-Rivières' twists and turns, but the little 2-liter cars with much less power will gain in this part of the road course. Rowe with Crawford close behind comes into view now. Start of the Boulevard des Fours straight. Here is where the 5-liter cars of Rowe, Crawford, and Kroll will regain the ground lost in the twistier parts of the circuit. On Boulevard de Carmel, the fastest part of the course, heading towards the Dupaillet turn, Rowe stretches his lead. Then, powering out of the corner, he leads down the Rue de Colon straight ahead of Crawford, then Campbell, and Romano, who has moved ahead of Horst Kroll. Rowe slides into view at the Dupaillet turn, right on the limit, down Papineau and into the Ryan corner, while behind Crawford, Campbell, Romano, and Kroll are still locked in combat. Trois-Rivières is a racetrack which is really hard on cars. Rowe driving flat out, his lead 2.5 seconds at the end of lap 1, but behind Crawford is unperturbed, relaxed, easier on his car.
This is very hard on brakes, yeah. It's for a street circuit, it's quite wide. You throw the car around, it's quite fast. I like it. It's one of the better street circuits that we go to.
Off the track at corner 9, John Macaluso. Also stationary, Ron Canizares, who climbs out of his car as Rowe and Crawford come into view. Canizares' race is over, but Macaluso will get it going again ahead of the struggle for third place, where the 2-liter cars have pulled out to short lead over Horst Kroll. Behind Rowe, Crawford continues playing a waiting game. His 1984 car has not performed as well as last year's version, in which he nearly grabbed the Can-Am title away from Jacques Villeneuve. Rowe's car, however, is virtually the same as the one he drove in 1983. He and his crew, they know it well. It's been refined and made more reliable without the need for development that Crawford's team has been forced to undertake. As the race progresses, Rowe's lead extends. By lap 30, the halfway point, it's over 4 seconds, and it's clear that victory for Crawford can only happen if the leader has a problem. The struggle for third spot rages. Kroll still frustrated by the 2-liter cars and by the fact that the Can-Am rules force him to refuel, while the smaller engine cars will continue to the end without stopping. They're so close, in fact, that even the leaders will be challenged, for the gassing up process will cost the 5-liter cars close to 30 seconds. On lap 42, Rowe will pit, and this is his strategy.
This is a 125 or 126 mile race, so it's a 1 pit stop race. Obviously, you stay out there as long as you can, maybe waiting for a yellow flag. Obviously, if it's a yellow flag, you'd pop in and take fuel on then, but if not, we just have to come in and make a fuel stop. It takes about 9 seconds to pour 11 gallons of fuel into it, but you usually lose about 20-25 seconds by the time you come into the pit and out of the pit.
And Rowe's crew don't let him down. Although Crawford has passed into the lead, the car was stationary for only 8 seconds, a time that Crawford's crew can hardly beat. So Crawford leads, but knowing he too will soon have to stop to refuel, his cushion isn't great enough to enable him to keep the lead over the hotly pursuing Mike Rowe. And 2 laps later, it's Crawford's turn to enter the pit. The fuel gushes in as in the background, Rowe goes back into the lead. Rowe's superb pit stop is equaled now by Crawford's crew. Rowe, Crawford, and both their teams are world-class professionals. Crawford rejoins the race in second place. Even after their pit stops, he and Rowe have maintained a comfortable lead over the rest of the field. And that's the way the race continued, Rowe increasing his lead over the ever-watchful Crawford, who is just seconds behind. But then, with only 7 of 60 laps remaining, suddenly Rowe is coasting. Clearly the fastest on the Trois-Rivières track. He is forced to watch Crawford now take his lead. He continues to coast. Broken drive shaft. The same problem which put him out of this very race last year, as Crawford passes him one more time to put Rowe a lap down. Then in the race's dying seconds, Crawford held up by Horst Kroll, trying to get by in the cars. They come together. But luckily, Crawford's damage merely slows him down, and he coasts for the remaining 2 laps, happy that he has enough of a cushion which the pursuing Romano, Campbell, and Kroll cannot overcome. Jim Crawford wins the CRC Chemicals Can-Am. Today's win dramatically closes the gap between him and Rowe in the championship standings. Romano drives a fine race to finish second, ahead of Campbell and Kroll. Mike Rowe was 5th.
From Bolton, England, James Crawford.
Welcome back to the Grand Prix Labatt of Trois-Rivières. A field of 24 Trans Am cars are lined up now, ready for the start of the Budweiser Trans Am. On the pole, Formula One ace Philippe Alliot, just ahead of Trans Am veteran Tom Gloy, but way back in 19th place is Willie T. Ribbs.
Trans Am is truly an international event. We got Philippe Alliot, who's been nicknamed Alley-Oop because he drives pretty wild. So he's over here mixing it up with us. This should be one of the, well, it will be the hottest Trans Am race in Trois-Rivières history.
It's a long way to go from 19th spot on the starting grid, but Ribbs is a charger, and all eyes will be on him in the early laps. An old favorite, past winner of the Trois-Rivières Trans Am, Canadian veteran Epi Wietzes. The local ace, Trois-Rivières specialist, second here last year, Quebec's own Richard Spenard. 1982 Trans Am Rookie of the Year, fifth on the grid, Californian Darren Brassfield. Twice a 1984 Trans Am winner, second in the championship standings, Greg Pickett. In 1984, this man has finished in the top 3 8 times to lead the standings, Tom Gloy. And in pole position, Formula One ace, Philippe Alliot, puts on his helmet, ready for the start of this 35-lap race.
Messieurs, démarrez vos moteurs. Gentlemen.
Gloy's red and white Capri, beside Alliot's red Trans Am Firebird on the front row as the grid is cleared and the cars prepare to leave for their warm-up lap. From the outside, these cars look like those you and I drive on the street, but they only look like them. Underneath, every component is replaced, and these cars are highly developed race cars, producing 400 horsepower. And here we go, all eyes, not on the front, but on the back, where Willie T. Ribbs, white Capri, watch for it, number 64 will begin to charge. At the front, Gloy has jumped into the lead as he enters the S's. Behind, Alliot, Miller's white Porsche, Brassfield, Bob Lobenberg, Pickett, Wietzes, and Spenard. In the pack, Ribbs, white Capri, after only 2 turns, is up from 19th to 14th place. Just have a look. Now you can see why Trans Am racing is so exciting. On the Boulevard des Forges, a solid line of cars snaking down to turn 8. And in the pack, Ribbs passes yet another car. Now he is 13th. At corner 11, Gloy leads. Alliot second. Brassfield has moved up to third. You know, Gloy has never won at Trois-Rivières, but today everything so far seems to be going well. His Capri, ideally suited to Trois-Rivières' tight corners, and in 1984 has proved extremely reliable. Behind, it's Alliot and Brassfield. Miller is fourth, and behind him, Pickett, then Spenard. Incredibly, it's Ribbs ahead of Wietzes now. In less than a lap, Ribbs has passed 12 cars, and he is up to 7th place. At the end of lap 1, Gloy's lead over Alliot is 2 seconds, but attention is focused on the battle for 5th place. Pickett leads over the line, but going into the stadium corner, watch Spenard's red Corvette get inside and take over 5th spot. Shut out Pickett slow as Ribbs seizes his chance, and brilliantly he passes Pickett as well. And then Ribbs outbreaks Spenard into the clubhouse corner, and out of our sight moves into 5th place. And then the pace slows just a bit. The oil flag, yellow caution are shown around the track as oil is cleared following a blown engine. Leading the race is Gloy, who knows exactly what is needed to win.
You make a lot of luck. It does take something beyond that. But when you got a crew like I've got, if you look at our history as a company, our finishing rate through Formula Atlantic, Super B, and Trans Am over the last 5 years, been 95% of the races we've entered, we've finished.
As the race restarts, Gloy has lost all of his advantage under the yellow caution, and as he approaches corner 8, Alliot moves out and takes the lead. Behind, Ribbs is now on Miller's tail, ready to pounce. After 10 laps, Alliot leads Gloy. Behind, Ribbs moves out and outbreaks Miller, claiming his 4th place. Now his sights are set on Brassfield, who is just ahead in 3rd. But up front, it is still Alliot, the Frenchman, making his debut in Trans Am, a style of racing largely unknown in Europe. The Frenchman saying he is very impressed with the professionalism of the series and the preparation of these Trans Am cars. They are every bit a racing thoroughbred as the Formula One cars he normally drives. Only 1 second separates Alliot's first place and Ribbs in 4th as they sandwich Gloy and Brassfield. But now Ribbs' progress is likely to slow down just a bit, for these men ahead of him are the cream of the Trans Am racing crop. In the excitement of the Ribbs charge, Alliot's drive mustn't be forgotten. He leads in his first race in a type of car radically different from the Formula One cars he normally drives. Behind Ribs is Miller, Spenard, Pickett, and Epi Wieses. In short races like this, there's no time for strategy. All these cars are driving flat out, each on the limit, struggling to stay ahead or struggling to make a pass. As the cars come into corner 11, the leader's jockeying about. Ribs makes a move on Brassfield, diving inside, under-braking, and as they exit at the corner, have a look. Ribs has now captured third spot, but the first 8 cars are all still together. This is what makes successful racing. Lots of cars racing wheel to wheel. Trans Am is North America's longest running series because it has always been able to supply what the racing public wants, action just like this. The race continues, Alliot leading, but on lap 15, what a move. Gloy makes a great pass, surprising the Frenchman, diving inside, outbreaking him in classic style to move into top spot. Just behind, though, is Ribs. Now missing, however, from the leading group, Brassfield, who is in the pits, soon out of the race. After 18 laps, Gloy leads, but Ribs, who for 2 laps has been challenging Alliot, finally passes him. Ribs must win, as he well knows.
That means that we're all going to be going for it because they got to keep me in second and third to keep me from moving up in points. I got to win to move up in points. So that means we're going to be getting it on heavy.
The Trois-Rivières crowd has rarely seen such excitement. Gloy leading, and now Ribs makes his first mistake of the race. On the exit to the corner, his tail slides out, lifts his foot. Alliot, rounding the corner perfectly, gains and goes inside, but Ribs slams the door on the Frenchman. Alliot loses control, and he is out of the race. The Frenchman climbs from his car unharmed and surveys the damage. It's lap 20. Tom Gloy is first, Willie T. Ribs second. Both drive Capris, which are proving in pre-race predictions that here at Trois-Rivières they would be ideally suited to the track. But now Ribs' meteoric rise begins to fall, for Gloy is driving magnificently, fast, but without risk. The third Capri driver in this race is Pickett, who now begins to show. Here as Spenard goes wide, the smaller, more nimble Capri stays in tight, enabling Pickett to get the power on more quickly, and he goes up into third place. Now the Capris occupied the top 3 positions. And Spenard's troubles are not over, for now Wieses closes and begins to challenge the French-Canadian, while Pickett, the current championship runner-up, consolidates his third place. The battle for third continues. Pickett ahead of Spenard, pressured by Wieses, who was the 1981 Trans Am champion. Unlike the other drivers in this race, Spenard is not a full-time racer. Today, he drives only because the team's #1 driver, David Hobbs, isn't available. It's a situation that makes Spenard's fine record even more noteworthy, but not one he enjoys.
I want something steady. You know, it's not very interesting to go from one car to the other car. You know, so far in 6 races, I've driven 5 cars this season. So it's pretty tough to get used to that, you know.
For some laps, Wieses pressures Spenard, never more than a few feet behind. But now, Wieses' car, have a close look, it begins to smoke. And although it doesn't seem to slow him down, he keeps up the pressure. At the front, it's still Gloy, driving fast, without really appearing to try, while behind, Ribs is all over the road. He's obviously in bad trouble. Ribs motions to his pit that he intends to come in. And his problems, they get worse. Later in the lap, still snaking as he fights his car for control, he knows he'll lose everything he's gained in this race if he's forced to make a pit stop. His tires, punished by his early charge, are worn out. Spenard and Wieses continue their struggle, but unaware of Ribs' problems. Soon they'll be fighting for third place. On Boulevard du Carmel, Ribs has been passed by Pickett, and now Spenard closes. For Spenard, passing Ribs is easy, for now the Capri is hardly drivable. Wieses too passes Ribs. Spenard is third, Wieses fourth. As Pickett passes the pit entrance, followed by Spenard and Wieses, Ribs will make his way in to change tires. There are only 7 laps to go, so for Ribs, the race is virtually over. It's a sad end to Willie T's day, not only for him, but for the crowd too, who now won't be able to see the expected fight for the lead between the 2 Capri drivers. Tom Gloy now leads Greg Pickett, who holds the distinction of being the all-time Trans Am top money winner, and he's needed every bit of it. Till this year, he's always run his own team.
You can run a Trans Am for maybe $150 or $150 to $200,000 back when I was doing it. But now most of the budgets are approaching $1 million, $500,000 and up. So that really takes it out of the realm of any privateers.
Ribs won't give up. Tires changed. He smokes his way back into the race, just behind the continuing struggle for third place, which still rages between Spenard and Wietzes, whose car, although it now smokes very badly, is still as fast as ever. It's lap 27, and Wietzes is closer than ever. In the S's, he is almost touching Spenard's car. Watch him move out, then inches away. He forces behind Spenard just a few feet wide, and he's through. Spenard must now watch as Wietzes, now in the commanding inside position, powers his way through the corner and into the straight. Now with smoke billowing from his car, Wietzes stays ahead. You know, he's often been successful at this track, winning here in 1981, but this year in his own car, a Firebird, he's hardly had a chance against the high-rolling efforts mounted by Ford.
I mean, it's going to run wide open, and hope I will get the lead somewhere along the line. But, you know, the Capris are very tough cars to beat, and it seems that the Capris suit this racetrack probably a little bit better than anything else because of the short wheelbase.
Now it's lap 35, the last corner, the last few feet, and Tom Gloy has stayed well ahead of Pickett. His tactics have paid off. His car running just as well as it did at the start of the race. You know, throughout, Gloy has driven within himself, and even if Willie T. Ribs had challenged him, there's a feeling that Gloy was holding something in reserve. The checkered flag, and Tom Gloy has won the Budweiser Trans Am.
I really felt all along that if we could get through the first turn clean, that we could win the race. I didn't think there was a car that could run all day as hard as mine, and that's the way it worked out.
Tom Gloy is the winner. Greg Pickett second, third Epi Wietzes, fourth Spenard, and fifth Paul Miller. For all of us at trackside here at Trois-Rivières, good afternoon.
A big win for Tom Gloy. Good to see Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame inductees Richard Spenard and Epi Wietzes in the race. Thanks for watching From the Vault.
From the Vault is brought to you by M-Zone, premium auto care, proudly owned and made by Canadians. By Recap Recovery Drink. By WeatherTech. For the perfect fit and ultimate in-vehicle protection, nothing protects like WeatherTech. Order online at weathertech.ca. And by the Canadian Motorsport Hall of Fame. Visit our website for Hall merchandise.